Joplin. Welcome back to my channel. I just wanted to quickly come on here and give you some of my favorite all-time fantasy romance recommendations as of now. Granted, I am reading books right now that fit in that genre, and I think one or two of them will get onto my all-time favorite list. But as of right now, I just kind of wanted to go over some of those with you. Make sure you like the video, make sure you subscribe so you stick around to see some more content coming up. Next week's video is going to be quite amazing. I hope you stick around to see that. But today we're just going to go over some fantasy romance recommendations. Some of these you have heard about. They are all over BookTube and Book Talk and everything else like that. But there are going to be some that are going to surprise you. So I hope that you give the ones that surprise you that you may not have heard a lot about a chance, because they are truly amazing. So the first one is The Fae King's Curse by Jamie Schlosser. This book is absolutely amazing. They are standalones. There is 4 of them plus a novella in this series. It's called From Dawn to Dusk, I believe. And you follow a different character in each one, but there is like an overarching plot that goes throughout the first 3 books, and so I highly suggest reading them in order. But this book, you are following Kieran. He is a Fae prince, and basically you don't know much about them at the very beginning. He shows up in this grove meadow type area where our main female character is, and they are quite young, like 10, 12-ish type years old. And, you know, they have an instant connection with a friendship. And so he confides in her every single day when they, you know, hang out, but she notices that he is aging quite rapidly compared to her. And so whenever she finds out as they get older that, you know, he is a Fae prince, he's from this Fae realm, and every day on Earth is a year in the Fae realm. So that's the reason why he is growing older faster than she is. But he stops aging at a certain point, so it doesn't seem too awkward or weird. And, you know, over this time, he confides in her about the curse that he has, about how he can't have any physical contact or anything with any woman unless it is his soulmate. And so if he does, he will be blind for the rest of his life. And lo and behold, one day our main female character is saying bye to him because she is moving away. She's going to go to college. And he just can't have that because he has fallen in love with her. So he kisses her. She freaks out because she's like, you have doomed yourself. You are going to be blind for the rest of your life. And it goes from there. You find out a lot about this world, about the curse, who is involved. And, you know, you just get to see their, you know, story progress throughout all of this. So I highly suggest checking this out. It was a great read. I absolutely loved it. I loved this world. I did read The Fae King's Dream, which is the second book. The Fae King's Prize is the third book. And then the Fae Warrior, or the Fae Princess's Warrior, I think is the newest one that came out. So definitely check these out. They all have a unique story to them, something that you've never heard before, and I absolutely loved it. So definitely check this one out. The next one is going to be Pestilence by Laura Thalassa. So the 4 Horsemen series, they are standalones. So I do suggest reading them in order because some things that happen in this book will happen in War, which is the second book, and then in Famine, which is the third book, and then Death, which is the 4th and final book. But they are standalones. They follow each horseman of the apocalypse and, you know, the women that change them. So Pestilence comes to Earth and he is riding through towns and killing everybody. So our main female character is like, I'm having none of that. I'm going to stand out here and I'm going to kill Pestilence. But you can't kill one of the 4 horsemen of the apocalypse. So she's in for a wild ride, and it is an enemies to lovers story. I absolutely loved this book and the world that Laura Thalassa had created, because you really get a kind of bigger grip on what the 4 horsemen are and how they're going to be perceived and received, you know, in the, you know, our world, if it ever happens, you know, if you believe in that thing. And so definitely check this out. Pestilence is the first book. He is absolutely amazing. Definitely not as, rough and hardcore as the other ones are. And he's just a big, cuddly teddy bear. And I absolutely loved that. And so I love Laura Thalos's writing, but I think that anybody that reads this book is going to get something out of it that they truly enjoy, whether it be the romance, the enemies to lovers trope, or, just the whole fantasy element altogether. So pick up Pestilence by Laura Thalosa. Then the next one is quite an older one, but still a goodie, and that is the Fever series by Karen Marie Moning. Now, I absolutely love this cover. I scoured the earth for it. I got it at a secondhand store. It has some cracked spines, but I think it's beautiful. So this is an urban fantasy romance, and I really wouldn't even say it's very heavy on the romance until, later on in the original 5-book series. There are 12 books, I believe 12 in the series, which after the 5th book, which is called Shadow Fever, you start getting spin-off characters. And so the 6th one is called Iced, which is about Danny. And then you do get, some more books from what's her name? Michaela, from Michaela's point of view. And I absolutely loved it. So the original 5-book series, you can stop with it after that if you don't want to continue, but it's great. You are following Michaela. She is in Ireland, and she is, trying to figure out what happened to, someone that she cared about. And anyway, you're following her, and she meets this guy named Jericho Barons, and he is not a nice man, but somehow their paths become entwined, and she finds out that he is involved possibly with, killing or the mysterious disappearance of her sister. I believe it's her sister that she's looking for. And you just go on this trip, and she meets a fae prince, I think his name is. And basically he just, you like him, you want to like him. And, then you have Jericho, who is just Barons and absolutely scrumptious. And I loved this story. It's in an urban, setting where it is like modern day Ireland, but then you also get the fantasy elements of, you have the Fey realm, you have other creatures in play, there is something going on, there's something with Michaela, and it is a really good book. I read all 12 books. I loved this whole world that Karen Marie Moning had created, and then I found out that her Highlander series that she had written before the Fever series actually kind of could work as a prequel series to this one. And I believe there's 7 or 8 books in that one. You do not have to read that series before you read this to understand what's going on and, the world around it. But I found it interesting going back and reading her Highlander series and seeing how some of the characters in that series actually entwine in here, and then I actually understand why they act the way they act, and it was truly amazing. I highly suggest, if you like urban fantasy romances, this is a great book to pick up. Then the next one, lo and behold, is Kingdom of the Wicked by Carrie Maniscalco. I cannot talk tonight, guys. I am so sorry. But this one is they say it's YA, but the rest of the series is most definitely not YA. But this is following Amelia, whose sister goes missing, and she doesn't know what happens to her sister, and so she is trying to investigate, and things are starting to unravel, and she ends up summoning a prince of hell. And she did not mean to summon a prince of hell. She was just trying to get some answers from hell itself. And she's always been told her whole life, never summon a prince of hell because, they will basically devour your soul and corrupt you and all of these things. So in walks Wrath, and he and Amelia do not get along at first at all. And I really like their banter. And then he is helping her try to solve this mystery with her sister, but in turn, it's actually helping him because something is wrong in hell. And you don't know that until the end of this book. obviously there's a cliffhanger because then there's Kingdom of the Cursed, and then the newest book, Kingdom of the Feared, which I haven't read yet. The third book just came out recently, and so I can't wait to get my teeth into that one because I am dying to know how Amelia and Wrath's relationship and how Hell and everything come together. But if you like something that is a little on the darker side that doesn't deal with fae or anything that's a typical fantasy romance that seems to be floating around right now, this one is absolutely amazing. It's not spicy in the first one, maybe a little bit spicy in the second one, but I heard the third one it just ramps up, and I can't wait for that. So definitely go and follow Amelia and Wrath on their journey and find out what's going on in Hell and find out what happened to her sister, because there are so many betrayals and so many twists and turns, and you literally cannot trust anyone, even the person you are working with. So definitely go pick this one up. Then the next one is another Laura Thalassa book, but gosh, Laura Thalassa is amazing. In my eyes, I think her concept of worlds, the way that she builds characters, just absolutely breaks me and, just soothes my soul in places. But this one is Rhapsodic. It's the Bargainer series, and you are following Callie, who is a siren. And something happens whenever she is a teenager, like around 17, 18 years old. Her father is killed, and she is trying to get it covered up so she doesn't get in trouble. And so she summons the Bargainer, which you never want to do because you never want to owe the Bargainer anything. And so in comes the Bargainer. She makes a deal with him. She gets a bead on her arm, and the Bargainer will always come to collect. Always. And so she made the deal. She goes to college. And then the Bargainer keeps coming around. And the first book, you get present day Callie and you get 7 years ago Callie, where you are seeing the Bargainer and her becoming close and how, she trusted him. Well, all of a sudden, throughout the book, you're finding out, like how all of these bargains and deals came about. But Callie in modern times has beads going up her arm, like over 300. So that is very unheard of. The Bargainer never makes a deal more than once, with a person. So all of a sudden, Desmond Flynn has been gone for 7 years. Callie has no idea where he went. And then all of a sudden he shows up, and he is here to collect his debts. And so Callie is strung along, and she is mad at him because she's like, you abandoned me randomly 7 years ago. And you're getting, of course, still the backstory on that throughout this book. And then you're also getting Desmond, who is the Night Court King. And so a little bit of, Rhysand vibes in there, but Desmond Flynn is way hotter. And oh my goodness, is he more bad and just, such a bad boy. So anyway, you are following them, and Callie basically finds out what happened. She finds out why he was gone for 7 years. And you find out a lot of different things about their relationship that happened 7 years ago and why it plays such a pivotal role now. And I just loved it. If you want a good fae romance, if you are into ACOTAR and you really like the Rhysand vibes, but you want more of a badass character in a way, definitely pick up Rhapsodic, because Desmond Flynn does not hold back any punches. He is definitely not a Rhysand, it's your choice type of guy. So I definitely really liked it. Laura Thalassa made an amazing world with this. There are 2 more books in this series and a novella from Desmond's point of view from his past and his childhood. So definitely pick this up if you like fae romances. And then the last book is one that isn't talked about too much, or this author isn't, very well known yet in the book community, but it's Rebecca Garcia. I mean, you guys knew that I loved her, so I had to put her book in here somewhere. But this is Spellbound, and this one is a standalone. She has a standalone series going right now that is set kind of in the same world, but deals with like different territories in that world and different characters. So Spellbound is the first one, and you are following, oh my goodness, what is her name? Elle. You are following Elle, and she is a witch, and she has lived with this coven, and there's like different covens in this town. And so she's grown up trying to harness her magic and all of these things. And then one night, this mysterious guy shows up named Victor, and you don't know anything about Victor. Where did he come from? What is his magical powers? What does he have to do with anything? And so as you progress, Elle and Victor end up having their lives entwined in more than one ways. She definitely finds him gorgeous. She is definitely pining for him, but you don't think that Victor's pining for her at first. And you get to watch as their story progresses and they try to solve a mystery and solve things that go on. And this book deals with witches, it deals with gods, it deals with, a little bit of mythology and folklore weaved in there. So if you like books like that, if you want a standalone that is not part of a series where you can just read it, be done with it, and then, continue on with Heart of a Witch, which is the second one, but yet have a whole new story in a whole new area, definitely pick up Spellbound. It was one of my favorite reads last year. I really loved the world that Rebecca had built, and I really like the mystery around Victor, and I really like Victor and Elle's how they talk to each other and their romance, and just a lot of things unfolded in here, and I really, really enjoyed it. So if you want a good fantasy romance that can be just read and not have to worry about a series, and if you want something that's different, that's not about the fae, like I said, this one is about witches, it has gods, it has you name it in here, and it's definitely a good book. So pick this up if you want to. So those are some fantasy romance recommendations. Some of them have been recommended, by a lot of people. They are, really hyped books, but I feel like these ones definitely get, they deserve all of the hype that they are getting. But then there's also a few in there that a lot of people may not know about because they're indie authors and they don't get a whole lot of recognition. And I feel like Jamie Schlosser and Rebecca Garcia deserve all of the recognition that they get. There's a lot of indie authors out there that deserve so much more recognition than traditionally published authors. And so I always like to give them a shot. And so I will always be recommending, new indie authors that absolutely grabbed my heart and ran away with it. So if you have read any of these, let me know in the comments below. How did you like them? Did you not like them? Did you find any books that maybe you haven't read yet or haven't heard about and now you're going to go read them? Let me know if that has inspired you. But until next week with my definitely biggest video that I've done yet, but I think you're really going to like it. Until then, though, I hope that you have a good day and I hope you find some amazing reads. Bye!